2025 is finally coming to an end. It's November now, and we have less than 2 months before the year is over. To be honest, this year hasn't been easy for Kenya. We've lost so many big names, people who shaped our politics, our media, and even entertained us. We're talking about Raila Odinga or Baba, Leonard Mambo Mbotela, Edward Kwach, Ngũgĩ Thiong'o, Mwenyewe, Kimani Mbugua, and just recently, Bayo died. Some of these deaths were never expected. They shocked the whole country and left many in disbelief. So in this video, we're going to look back at the deaths that really shook Kenya in 2025. Now, this year began with a double tragedy that shook many people across Kenya. We lost two men who were quite popular, and I know you know them. One of them is Leonard Mambo Mbotela, and the other is Wafula Chebukati. Let's first talk about Leonard Mambo Mbotela. Leonard was one of the Kenya's most famous broadcasters. For over 50 years, he was the voice behind the radio show Je Hu Ni Ungwana. Do you remember that show? And Leonard was a trusted figure in Kenyan media. Sadly, on February 7th, 2025, Kenya said goodbye to Mambo Mbotela, who died at the age of 85.
Now, the media industry is in mourning following the demise of iconic broadcaster Leonard Mambo Mbotela, who died early today in Nairobi.
According to the family, in the last days of his life, Mbotela was in and out of hospitals and was suffering from pneumonia and low blood pressure. And because he was old, 85 years old, his body could not fight the illness well. Eventually, he passed away. Even today, most people I know still remember his popular radio show Je Hu Ni Ungwana, which later came to television.
Tabia kama hizi kwa hakika zinaudhi sana, na kuna watu ambao wana tabia kama hizo, wanawake hata wanaume, kuwaendea wanawake na kuambia mambo kama hayo. Kwa nini wewe uzai? Kwa nini uzai? Mwaka wa 3 umeolewa, mbona upati mtoto? Mbona uzai? Huo ni ungwana kweli? Nauliza, huo ni ungwana?
The show started airing in 1966. That is a long time ago, long before most of us were even born. It is one of the longest running radio shows in Kenya. Through this show, Mbotela spoke out against bad behavior and encouraged people to act with respect, kindness, and good manners.
Masimulizi yangu ya hii leo yanahusu mambo ambayo hatuna uwezo nayo. Uwezo ni wa mwenyewe Maulana Muumba. Unajua, tuache pia hii tabia ya loose talk kwa Kiingereza, tabia ya kuropokwa.
He also did many other things, important things in the media world. Some were even shocking, like in 1982 during the failed coup in Kenya. During that period, Mbotela was forced at gunpoint to say on national radio that President Moi had been removed from power and that a man called Hezekiah Ochuka was in charge. He had to say this particular message every 30 minutes. It was a very scary moment.
What is his name again?
Hezekiah Ochuka, yeah.
Hezekiah Ochuka scribbled some announcement on a piece of paper. He gave me to read. Soma hiyo. Nikamwambia ndio. Hamjambo wasikilizaji, mimi ni Leonard Mambo Mbotela, na natangaza ya kwamba serikali ya Moi imepinduliwa. Sasa ni serikali ya majeshi, na hapa niko na bwana Hezekiah Ochuka na wanajeshi wenzake. Serikali imepinduliwa, polisi wote ni raia, mahabusu wafunguliwe, na nyinyi mkae nyumbani mpaka mtakapotangaziwa tena. Sema, repeat it. So I read that announcement over and over.
Anyway, when Mbotela died, a big national memorial service was held. Many people came, including his family, friends, co-workers, and national leaders. Many people say that something should be done so that Mbotela is never forgotten, like naming a road or a school after him. Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei even suggested the renaming of the Kenya Institute of Mass Communication, KMC, after Mambo Mbotela to honor his great work and inspire young people who want to join the media. But that never happened, or let's say it's yet to happen.
Even the Kenya Institute of Mass Communication here, Mr. Speaker, in Nairobi, we should name it after Leonard Mambo Mbotela. We have branches of mass communication so that the young men and women who go and study journalism, Mr. Speaker, can go and learn how to be a good journalist.
Just 2 weeks after we mourned Mambo Mbotela, another well-known figure died, Wafula Chebukati.
I, Wafula Chebukati, hereby declares that Ruto William Samoei
Chebukati was the former chairman of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC. He died at the age of 63 from a heart attack caused by a brain tumor. Chebukati was sick for some time. In 2023, doctors found a tumor in his brain. He went to Germany for surgery and the tumor was removed, but it came back later. He had another operation and more treatment. In the days before he died, his health got worse, his body became very weak, and doctors say that many of his organs were failing. Finally, he had a heart attack. Even though doctors tried to save him, they could not. He died on February 20th, 2025 and was buried on March 8th, 2025 in Sabata village near Kitale, Trans Nzoia County. Chebukati, if you remember, was an important figure in Kenya's political history. He was a lawyer and guided the country through two very tense and disputed general elections in 2017 and in 2022. Leading the commission, the Electoral Commission, was very hard. He faced political threats, legal battles, and a lot of pressure. Chebukati was criticized by the opposition leaders who said that he was cheating and was unfair in counting the votes. By the way, after Wafula Chebukati died, many Kenyans were sad and mourned his passing. But not everyone felt this way. Some people, online and in public, celebrated his death. Yes, they celebrated. Mostly because of how he handled the election in 2022.
Unaona kukufa kwa Chebukati? Nilichinja kuku nyumbani kakuli. Nilicelebrate kukufa tu kwa Chebukati. Kwa sababu Chebukati hizi mashida tuko nazo, yeye ndiye ameleta. Hakuna mtu mwingine.
Tunatoa rambirambi zetu kwa familia ya Wafula Chebukati, lakini ni kicheko lia. Ama lia kicheko. Yani tunawacheka na tunawalia. Familia wa Chebukati tunawalia na tena tukitoka nje tunawacheka.
Chebukati's family said it was very painful to see people celebrating. Yes, they admitted that some people were still upset about the elections, but they reminded everyone that Chebukati was also a father, a husband, and a human being. Some public figures also spoke against the celebrations. They said it was wrong to mock someone's death, no matter the disagreements that were there. One of them was at Welie Mohammed, who said, "No one will die a second before or a second after their time." We might not have agreed with Chebukati's decision in the last elections, but it's sad to see folks celebrate and or mock his death. Hata utakufa one day. Condolences to his family and friends. Away from Chebukati, let's now talk about March. Now, on March 23rd, Kenya lost Nick Mudimba, a well-known and much-loved sports journalist.
I was the normal human stories reporter, an intern human stories reporter, and of course just going out, bringing the stories back. But one day things changed because
he was known for his calm and gentle confidence whenever he appeared on television. Mudimba worked for several media outlets, including KTN, Switch TV, and later CGTN Africa.
But for them, they've been using zero budget just to come up with such a prototype, which I must tell you needs so much IQ and of course time to make sure you come up with such. Nick Mudimba, CGTN, Nairobi.
He was a talented journalist and a blessing to the people who watched him cover different events. Beyond his work, Nick had other passions. He was training to be a qualified pilot, showing that he was hardworking, passionate, and skilled in many areas. His death was sudden and unexpected. He collapsed and died just like that at his home in Syokimau, Machakos County. In the day that he was dying, he had just watched a football game between Kenya Harambee Stars and Gabon. He was with his family and seemed happy, but soon after the match, he collapsed. A day before, Nick had gone to the doctor and was told that he had high uric acid, which can cause pain and sickness. He was given medicine by the doctor and he started taking it, probably thinking that he will be okay. Sadly, he passed away and was buried at his ancestral home in Dudi, Game constituency in Siaya County on April 5th, 2025. And April also became another sad month for the media world and also the political world. First, Kenya lost a major radio personality, and then there was a shocking murder of a politician. The radio personality was Edward Kwach. Kwach had a very unique voice and a great sense of humor.
My husband is incredibly unclean. This guy will wake up, leave without showering or even brushing his teeth. I've tried everything to help him improve. I wash and iron his clothes, but this guy won't even wash his underwear. I'm exhausted. And honestly, I feel like walking away from him. What should I do?
He was on the radio for a long time and was considered one of Kenya's most talented broadcasters. He began his media career in the early 2000s, a long time ago, and he worked at big stations like Capital FM, Kiss FM, and Nation FM. At the time of his death, he was still active on the radio, hosting a show on Spice FM called Spice Drive. He also worked at Urban Radio in Kisumu, where he co-hosted the breakfast show with Chris Okinda and Brian Odor. Kwach was open about the challenges he faced in life. He talked honestly about personal struggles, including dealing with fame and alcohol. In a letter to his younger self in 2021, he admitted that these struggles caused job losses and other difficulties in his life.
Drinking isn't a hobby. When you hit rock bottom, appreciate it and stay there for a bit. When you stop drinking, and you will for a couple of years, things will be absolutely top of the pops.
In early April 2025, Edward Kwach became very sick and was admitted to Coptic Hospital in Nairobi. His illness was serious. He had meningitis, a dangerous disease that causes swelling around the brain and spinal cord. It can cause very bad headaches, fever, and a stiff neck. During his time in the hospital, his family and friends asked people to donate blood to help him. On the night of Monday, April 28th, Edward Kwach passed away while still receiving treatment. He was buried at his family home in Simenya in Siaya County on Saturday, May 10th, 2025. Hundreds of people attended that funeral, including family, friends, media colleagues, and political leaders like Raila Odinga. Sadly, Raila Odinga will pass away 5 months later, and we'll talk about it later. Just 2 days after the passing of Edward Kwach, another shocking death happened. Kasipul Member of Parliament Charles Ongondowere was killed.
Back to our earlier top story, the breaking news on the shooting of Kasipul MP Charles Ongondowere, and now our reporter Emmanuel Toh joins us.
Now, Ongondo was re-elected in 2022 on the ODM party ticket and had served on committees that focus on important national issues like water and agriculture. He was shot in a targeted attack in Nairobi. The killing of a sitting MP in such a way shocked the whole country. On the evening of April 30th, 2025, Charles Ongondowere was driving in Nairobi. His car stopped at a red light on Ngong Road near the city mortuary roundabout when two men on a motorbike pulled up. One of them got off, walked up to the car, and opened fire at close range. The MP was rushed to the hospital, Nairobi Hospital, but was declared dead on arrival. The police said the killing was targeted and planned, meaning it was done on purpose and aimed at him. Investigators worked quickly. They examined the scene, looked at surveillance footage, traced the motorbike's escape route, and identified the vehicle used to carry the suspects. Several people were arrested: the driver, the bodyguard, and others believed to have planned or paid for the killing. One suspect was even caught trying to escape to Tanzania. Police found weapons and financial records connected to the crime. The murder of Charles Ongondowere is still being investigated. Many questions remain. Was it political? Was it connected to his work on national resources like water and agriculture? Or was it a business dispute that went deadly? There are also other dark allegations about his political life. Some said he used violence and threats against opponents in Homa Bay. So did any of the people he attacked fight back? No one really knows. For now, we wait. The investigation is ongoing. Let's talk about May. In that month, the world mourned one of Kenya's most respected writers and thinkers. That's Ngũgĩ wa Thiong'o.
We are honoured to be joined now by much celebrated African writer and human rights champion Ngũgĩ wa Thiong'o.
Ngũgĩ wa Thiong'o was a famous author, teacher, and scholar. He wrote many powerful books. Now, his first books looked at how colonialism and the Momo uprising affected Kenyan society. His first novel, Weep Not Child, published in 1964, was one of the first novels written in English by an East African writer.
When I published my novel, Weep Not Child, in 1964, it was the first novel by an African person in English in East Africa. Not only in Kenya, but in East Africa.
He wrote many other books too, like petals of blood, a grain of wheat, the river between, decolonizing the mind, and wizard of the crow. But Ngũgĩ wa Thiong'o did not only write in English. At one point, he switched to writing in his native Gĩkũyũ language. He wrote plays and books like Ngai Kandenda, which means I'll marry when I want, and he was doing this because he believed that language carries culture. He argued that writing in African languages was important to keep cultural identity alive, instead of letting African literature be dominated by European languages. His work inspired many other African writers to write in their own native languages. His efforts also led to the University of Nairobi to change its curriculum to focus more on African literature, both oral and written, making it an important part of study. Ngũgĩ wa Thiong'o books were not just stories. They carried powerful messages. He wrote about corruption, poverty, and injustice. And because of this, at one point, he became an enemy of the state. He was even imprisoned many years ago and went into exile to avoid prosecution.
I, a professor of literature at Nairobi University, was put in a maximum security prison, the biggest prison in Kenya, as you know, maximum security. Yeah.
Besides writing, he taught at top universities like Yale and the University of California. He received many awards and was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize in Literature several times. Ngũgĩ spent his final days in the United States, where he had lived and taught for many years. He was dealing with several health problems, including kidney failure, and had difficulty walking or moving. On May 28th, Ngũgĩ died in Atlanta, surrounded by his family. His family say that he had been sick for some time, and his passing was calm and expected. His son, Mukoma wa Ngũgĩ, later confirmed that Ngũgĩ had asked to be cremated, a choice that surprised many because it is not common in Kenyan tradition. But the family honored his wish. 8 days later, Ngũgĩ was quietly and respectfully cremated in the US. Now, let's talk about the month of June. Now, June began with the death of Albert Ojwang.
We're staying on that story. Albert Ojwang was arrested on Friday, reported dead on Sunday morning. The late blogger was picked up at his home on Friday afternoon and logged in the occurrence book at the Nairobi Central Police Station 32 hours later.
On June 8th, news came that Ojwang, a young outspoken blogger and also a teacher, aged only 31, had died. Ojwang had been arrested in Homa Bay County and taken on a long drive to the Central Police Station in Nairobi. Police say that he was arrested for publishing false information about a senior officer on social media. Tragically, Ojwang died from torture while in police custody. The police report first claimed that he had died by hitting his own head against the cell wall, but a later post-mortem showed he had been assaulted. This confirmed the public fears and sparked huge anger. Ojwang's death immediately led to massive national protests against police brutality. Several police officers and civilians were arrested, and by June 23rd, prosecutors charged 6 people, including 3 police officers, with murder in connection to Ojwang's death. The office of the president acknowledged that Ojwang died at the hands of the police, moving away from the earlier story. Until now, many questions remain. Who ordered his arrest and transfer? What really happened inside the holding cell? Will higher level officials be held responsible? Maybe yes, maybe no. We'll have to wait and see what the courts decide. Another tragedy happened. The death of 5-year-old Amanda Mutheu, and she was killed by her uncle.
Now, a tragic incident in Nairobi's Jacaranda estate has left residents shaken and a family shattered. A 5-year-old girl, Amanda Mutheu, was allegedly thrown off a balcony by her uncle, was reportedly under the influence of alcohol.
Now, the incident happened on June 11th in Nairobi's Roysambu area. Now, the police and witnesses say that Amanda was at home under the care of a house help in the apartment in Jacaranda Gardens Estate. Her uncle arrived drunk, caused a commotion, and took Amanda from the helper and threw her from a second-floor balcony. After the fall, he reportedly struck her head repeatedly against the ground until neighbors intervened. After that, the uncle was restrained by the public and later arrested by Kiamumbi police station officials. Amanda was rushed to Kenyatta University Teaching, Referral and Research Hospital, but was pronounced dead shortly after their arrival. Police said the man was drunk, the uncle, and that the attack appeared deliberate and violent. And the uncle might face life imprisonment. You know, under the Kenyan law, deliberately killing someone is murder, which is punishable by death. But Kenya has not carried out executions in recent years, and many death sentences are changed to life imprisonment. Now let's talk about July. In mid-July, Kenya lost a young talented comedian named Zakaria Karaoke. Zakaria died on July 14th after a short illness. He was better known by his stage name KK Mwenyewe.
And I want to tell the people of Kenya the truth, because I am a truthful man, that I want to tell them that the freedom that you have been searching for many years, it is finally here. It has come. That when I'm given my 200 million, I am going to take a 10% to my pastors, Pastor Dorcas.
KK Mwenyewe was a viral comedian and content creator in his mid-20s who had become very popular on social media. KK's speciality was impersonating public figures, especially the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. In his sketches, he would wear an oversized suit and copy the deputy's voice and gestures. He posted these comedy clips on TikTok and other sites, quickly gaining millions of followers. He was talented, he was funny, and people all over Kenya enjoyed his videos or his comedy.
We received a demoralized economy, a data-baited country, and we cannot run away from the facts. And if those people are unhappy with me talking the truth, I think I'm sorry for them, because I'm truthful man, I talk the truth, and they must tolerate with me.
But behind the scenes, KK was battling something. He was battling a stomach condition that few people knew about. It began as acidity, which seemed manageable, but it got worse over time. But then he kept performing, posting, and smiling, hiding the pain to protect his public image. On the day he died, KK was at Kiambu Level 5 Hospital for treatment, accompanied by his close friend and fellow comedian, Kafengo. They waited in line, and KK seemed stable and even made plans for the week ahead. But in a quiet moment, he collapsed. The hospital tried to save him, but it was too late, and KK Mwenyewe passed away. Just days before his illness, he had shared a new skit online, which would now become his final gift to fans. Now, after his passing, fans, fellow comedians, and public figures, including politicians, expressed shock and deep sadness at his passing. But many said that although he was popular, he didn't always get the recognition or support his talent deserved. September was another sad month for Kenya. Now, on September 9th, Mathew Kyalo Mbobu, a respected lawyer, was shot and killed in a drive-by attack.
Once again, in news just coming in, a tragic incident has happened where a city lawyer has been killed in a drive-by shooting in Nairobi's Karen area. The gunman riding a motorcycle opened fire while the lawyer was stuck in traffic, this marking the second such incident in Nairobi in just 4 months following the tragic killing of Kasipul MP Ongondo, where details are still developing.
Mathew was well known for handling big civil and business cases. Mathew had also served as the chairperson of the Political Party Dispute Tribunal. That night, after leaving a meeting in the Karen area of Nairobi, he and a client were waiting at a red light on Magadi Road. Suddenly, a car stopped behind them and someone inside opened fire. Mathew was hit by bullets. The police rushed him to hospital, but he died during surgery. The attackers drove away and no one was arrested immediately. His death shocked the legal community. The Kenyan Law Society called the killing shocking and unacceptable. Colleagues remembered Mathew as fearless in defending his clients, and Mathew had no criminal record, and many wondered if his murder was connected to one of the cases he handled. The month of October began with two more stories that broke many hearts. In the early hours of October 5th, Shalkidoh, a rising star in Kenya's music scene, was injured in a motorcycle accident on Thika Road and later died the next day on October 6th. About a month before his death, Shalkidoh went viral asking for help on Instagram. A fundraiser led by Eric Omondi raised money to buy him a motorbike. Tragically, that same motorbike was later involved in an accident that took his life. In the early hours of Sunday, October 5th, Shalkidoh was riding a new motorcycle, the one that he was given, back to Nairobi after performing at a show in Thika when the accident happened. Reports say that he may have lost control of the bike or he hit something on the road. He was found with head injuries and rushed to the hospital, the Kenyatta University Teaching, Referral and Research Hospital. Doctors said that he was brain dead and tried surgery to save him, but he passed away later that day. News of the accident spread quickly on social media. The thousands of fans and fellow artists shared their sorrow online, including Bahati, who said that he had been talking to Shalkidoh about a new collaboration. And many people doubted this. Anyway, his former bandmates and friends also mourned Shalkidoh. Even the comedian Ngũgĩ, who had last seen Shalkidoh alive, shared this video on Instagram, remembering that last moment with Shalkidoh. Shalkidoh began his career as part of the Gengeton group called Sailors Gang. The group was famous in Kenya's urban music scene, with viral hits like Wamlambez, Packaging, and Wainame. Now, before his death, he was planning a comeback to music after years of struggle, but that never happened. And now, all that remained were his earlier songs and memories. Just a few days later, on October 14th, sad news came from a rehab center in Mombasa. Kimani Mbugua, a young TV reporter who had worked at NTV and Citizen Television, died by suicide at only 29 years old. Kimani had spoken many times about his struggles. He lived with a mental condition, sometimes using drugs, and was in and out of rehab while trying to get better. For months, former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko and others tried to help Kimani. And in the last days, Kimani later moved into a rehab center in Mombasa to get treatment and support. Even with that help, the fight was still very hard. Kimani felt tired in a way that people around him could not always see. Before he ended his life, he wrote a short note to his dad. In the note, he didn't blame anyone. He simply said that he was very tired and didn't know how to keep going.
The part which made me to feel completely crushed, he had written to the mom, and also there's a part he had also written to me, that Dad, I know you have stood with me. I have struggled with this body. You have done all you can, but my body and mind are not adding up together. So I am tired, and I have chosen to rest.
His death shocked many people across the country. People remembered his bright smile, his talent, and how good he was on television.
It's January, and my name is Kimani Mbugua. As always, I have a very simple question for you.
Kimani was later buried on October 28, 2025 at his family home in Maragua in Murang'a County. The funeral was emotional, with family, friends, media colleagues, and supporters gathered to say goodbye. The day that Kimani was being buried, it was a day full of tears, tributes, and calls for better mental health support in Kenya. Kimani's father spoke of starting a project in his son's memory to help others facing similar struggles. Now, the most shocking story of 2025 was the death of former Prime Minister and longtime ODM leader Raila Odinga. Even today, people are still mourning him.
Round the Bay of Mexico, where the sun shines daily on the mountain top, I took a trip on a sailing ship. When I reached Jamaica, I made a stop, but I am sad to say I'm on my way. Won't be back for many a days. My head is down, my head is turning around. I had to let a little girl in Kingston town.
Now, on October 15th, Raila Odinga, aged 80, died of a heart attack while receiving medical treatment in Kerala, India.
Well, it is a somber mood for the Republic of Kenya following the death of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga.
His brother, Oburu Oginga, said they had talked the night before and Raila sounded strong and lively. No one expected Raila to die. Raila was a very famous figure in Kenya. He was the son of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, the Kenya's first vice president. In politics, Raila did a lot for Kenya. He spent about 9 years in jail under President Daniel Arap Moi for fighting for multi-party democracy. He served as a member of parliament, a minister, and prime minister from 2008 to 2013 in a power-sharing government after the 2007 election violence. Raila ran for president 5 times but never won. He was the leader of ODM and it was the main opposition voice.
Jesse forward march! Jesse about turn! Jesse fire! Vijana fire!
After Raila passed away, his rivals did not disrespect him. He was honored as a fighter for change and Pan-African ideas. President William Ruto announced 7 days of national mourning. He received a state funeral with military honors. A delegation led by Foreign Minister Musalia Mudavadi flew to India to bring back his body on October 16th. Thousands waited at the airport. It was a bit chaotic, but that showed how much his fans loved him. They wanted to see him one last time and say goodbye. The main state funeral was on October 17th at Nyayo Stadium, and On October 18th, more viewing happened in Kisumu, and he was buried on October 19th at his Opoda farm in Bondo, Siaya County, next to his father. Many leaders and supporters brought cows as tributes, which is a big Luo tradition to show respect to Raila Odinga. People are still visiting the grave weeks later with more cows, and if you can't afford cows like some of these leaders, just bring chickens like Nuru Okanga. Now, just recently, another well-known Kenyan passed away. Famous gospel musician Betty Bayo died on Monday, November 10th, 2025, after battling blood cancer or leukemia. Betty Bayo was a famous name in Kenya's gospel music scene for inspiring songs like 11th Hour, Zemedari, and Siabonga. Her music touched many people, especially in church communities and among gospel fans. She often sang in Gikuyu and Swahili, and her lyrics spoke honestly about everyday struggles like money problems, heartbreak, and faith. Besides music, Betty Bayo was also a content creator and lifestyle influencer. She was previously married to Pastor Victor Kanyari, and they co-parented even after separating. Betty Bayo had been sick for some time, privately fighting advanced stage leukemia. Now, in the final moments of Betty Bayo, she was first admitted to the AR Kiambu Road Hospital, but her condition got worse and she was moved to the High Dependency Unit or HDU at Kenyatta National Hospital on Friday, November 7th, 2025. Family members and her former partner, Pastor Kanyari, confirmed that Betty Bayo was suffering from heavy bleeding caused by the cancer. Despite the doctor's best efforts, she passed away on Monday afternoon at around 1 p.m. Her body was then moved to the Kenyatta University Teaching Referral and Research Hospital mortuary. Her death shocked many fans, especially because her social media pages had remained active during her illness. Her last post on Facebook just a day before her passing was this picture with a Bible verse. The Bible verse is Philippians 4:13, which says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." Sadly, Betty Bayo is no longer with us. May her soul rest in peace. And with that, thank you for watching. Remember to like this video, subscribe if you haven't, and comment what you think in the comment section. Let's meet in the next video.